Thoughts on the games?
I mean, I quite like it. It's so I don't find it abstract, which is I think part of the reason I like it. It sort of makes sense to me that we're like building this little city together. I like how electrifying makes things better for the next person who goes there. I like building this out and adding the worker placement spots. You know, like some of the scoring stuff
Doesn't add worker placement spots. It adds places that you can
put workers.
Yes.
A fine distinction.
Oh no! Again,
Right.
because it's still 3 spots and only one of them clear them up.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think I generally kind of enjoy the MacGuffins. This is really hard to manage.
The ain't not pissing off the yokai.
Yep.
Yes.
Which I find enjoyable. Yeah, I like it. I think it is a surprisingly heavy game. Like, you'd never sort of look at the box and think it's as heavy as it is.
No. Yeah, the artwork belies 100%.
It really is a lot of mental work. I think we're probably all feeling pretty spent right now.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I want to talk about on this, for sure.
But I mean, I think I like all the pieces, and I like how they fit together. So yeah, I guess I like it.
Yeah, no, I like it also. After 2 3-player games and 1 4-player game, I really enjoy the 3-player vastly more than the 4-player. The 4-player I find because there was so much unintentional blocking of the 2 Steam spaces.
Because in a 4-player game, there are no more worker placement spots.
Correct.
Which was incredibly frustrating when it's like, you know, I have these workers that I want to use right there and constantly getting blocked. And but yeah, I like the game. I find it is there's a lot of challenging planning. I overdo it in terms of trying to manage my wilderness tiles to my detriment. I think that's something that probably I need to do a better job at production. Right, getting the steam when you need it. I think there was like at least two times when I produced little, because I didn't have the steam to join in, so I was not making as many points. Whereas Ken, whenever you did your full production, you were getting God knows how many, a ton of points.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it sort of builds over time. Yeah. These in this particular game are point getters.
Yes,
like real point getters.
The Mega Machine.
To be clear, because of those tiles.
Yes.
Again, there are
others. Yeah.
5 different options that it could have been.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that's really interesting. Again, there's so much here that I feel like I neglect. Like the Mega Machine is another example. And I shouldn't. It's just you get distracted by other things, right? I wanted to build out the board and put tiles, put wilderness tiles on them, so I didn't have them on my board, right?
Yeah.
And that's that balance is interesting, and that's a challenge for me. I struggle with that aspect, but I enjoy it. It is it's a lot of like make sure you do this, make sure you do that, make sure you do that other thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to its credit, on that note, as opposed to, and I look, Vital's a friend of mine, so he knows I'm not picking on him in this regard. But whereas in like a Lacerda game, it's a lot of steps and not all of them are always clearly delineated. This one, it is a very clear, this is what you do in this order, and it's the same things. It's just take your time and go through it. So it's procedural in that, in a good way. Like it's not a bad thing.
As we've now got some plays through, like there's some stuff that I was consistently forgetting in my earlier plays that we didn't forget tonight. Like it's really easy to forget your pilgrim movement after you produce.
I think I forgot that on more than one occasion. But to be fair, sure.
But it is, I mean, they're definitely like moving the Mega Machine can be hard to remember, right?
Yep.
But I think we did a much better job tonight
I agree.
like remembering the stuff.
Yeah.
So this game has aspects that I really like.
Yeah.
I think there are some very interesting things. I think managing the yokai and the way that ties in with everything, I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
The really hard decision, not hard from I choose, do I want more from A or do I want B, right? So do I move out here? Do I produce? And that decision space, it's just two options.
Yeah.
But the when is really delicious. It is really great.
Yep.
I love that. I also love that each independent action is actually rather straightforward.
Yep.
There's enough overhead mentally to that doesn't get in the way.
Right.
So there is a lot here that I like. In the end, it is a resource conversion game, worker placement game. However, and to be clear, and there are more things that I like. I should continue with those before I hammer the other side. Is the variability and how that impacts the game. It's not just variability for, you're moving up this track instead of this track, whatever, right? The fact that what the university has on offer can have a significant impact on whether or not the Mega Machine is prominently featured in a game.
Right.
And whether or not that's something you're like, I'm not going to bother. So from both this as well as the tiles that end up there.
Yep.
Also, what is available here for Moth Zeppelin?
I mean,
Massive.
widely varies.
Massive
really different
difference.
stuff you see there.
I mean, it's always going to be positive. It's always going to be good, but it's going to have a variable impact on the game and what the game looks like. And I love that. I think that's a very good implementation of variability without just, I went up track A instead of track B, whatever. However, and with that variability, there's still a ton to explore here. I think, right?
Yeah. I'd happily get some more plays in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I do. I don't know. And here's why. It's too long for what it is.
It's long.
It's even off stream, it's too long. It feels like it goes on at least one, if not two orbits around the table too long for me. Secondly, I'll take miserable and tedious for a 2000, Alex.
Yeah.
This is real. Look, who doesn't love chaining?
And
my God.
Stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yep.
But there's a limit when it becomes, that's awesome too. Oh my God, this is just too much.
Yeah.
And this has eclipsed that for me.
Yeah.
It even if you and I had swapped seats and that I was the one that crushed, I would feel the exact same way. And it's just overkill of what it is. And it's tedious. Nothing about that is fun. And holy shit, is it a lot to track. Sure, one person could do their own, but we have found in our experience, it's better to have two people working on one person's
can actually
production.
mess it up, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's just not fun. That's not enjoyable.
I hear that.
And it takes what is a fun, good thing, like, man, chain it, and it just it takes it from, it is too much of a good thing.
Once you go from 3 inventions, you're saying?
It's just too much. That's all.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I don't struggle as much with managing and calculating, but I agree that it is still too much.
That's all.
I wish I kind of having once you get to 6, I think it becomes a problem. Because, and especially when you have when like there's just what it supplies becomes less interesting than what you're getting out of the production than what you're getting. So you're doing production because that's where you're getting a ton of points.
Yeah.
Well, not just points, but you're getting a whole lot of stuff to be able to do the other things.
And it feels like production for for the purpose of getting points is the bigger reason than getting the resources to work on the board. And I enjoy working, taking the actions and working the board. I don't want to call production that often because I'm finding it interesting.
And my initial thought in my first play of this was production is a thing you take when you can't do the board stuff because you're right, it's not exciting. It's the work so you can have fun, i.e. do the stuff on the board.
But if you're getting like
sure is a lot of points.
yes, it's like you get whatever, all the warp bus movements, all those
You're right.
all those
Doesn't
points.
make it better.
Yeah.
It makes it better from I'm trying to do better.
Trying to win.
I mean, and to be clear, I feel like we all, Shrey, by we, I feel like we didn't play terribly. I mean, we scored 250-ish, thereabouts.
Yeah.
But you crushed and you maximized. You did a great job of managing production.
Well,
yeah.
and so I think something I would love to hear from the designer about is this. There's this tension that I wonder why it's here, and I wonder if it's right.
Okay,
is what I would say. So, which is that the most powerful action in the game also does not advance the timer of the game.
Oh, okay.
This thing doesn't get you closer to the end of the game.
Doing production, you're saying.
Correct.
Right. Yeah.
All of this moves you a little closer to the end of the game.
Yeah.
Fact, because you're always taking tiles. Right. I get that.
I think one of the things that means, though, is that as players get more skilled, the game actually is going to take longer.
Right, because you're
there's gonna be more
maximizing production.
turns.
Right. So I'm trying to think.
So-
Is there a potential way where the game can go where the one wilderness track is pushed and the end game gets there fast? I don't see it.
Because there's no way
maybe I'm
to
missing it.
expedite.
Well, yeah, I do
Right.
wonder, if you know you're ahead, then maybe it behooves you to push whichever track is
Right,
closest.
but like.
But then you end up piling a bunch of yokai stuff on that one spot.
You need help there to make
So
that
you
happen.
lose it.
I don't.
4 or 5 points, whatever, right?
Maybe,
yeah.
right.
Because the penalty of having pissed off yokai at the end is, especially if you just load up on one, is a pittance.
Not that bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
I mean, you can remove 2 a round, right? You can go to the town hall, pick up a blue and something else, and then go to another space that picks up that else, right?
Right.
So you get 2 of one type every round. Which, yeah, I mean that would be if you just basically take 2 turns every time around the circle, and that might be a way to speed that up quite a bit. But I don't think it's to the degree that we might think it would happen. I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, yeah, 10. Right.
Yeah.
I guess maybe. I'd be curious to see if. But then.
Yeah. So I mean, if the rule was when you take a production turn, choose a wilderness tile
And
just-
remove it
and
from
just
the game.
Throw it away.
Yeah.
It would substantially speed the game up.
Yeah.
But it might have some consequences that would be
Negative,
Not
like
yeah.
unintended, like it
Yeah.
doesn't. Yeah. No, I hear you. Right, and that's what the peanut gallery is
Yeah.
saying. Like maybe when you right. Look, again, I'm not a designer. I'm not a developer. There's a lot here that I really like. I think it is, and it is a big ass game.
you just
in
wish
this
just
space.
wish it was an hour shorter and a little less complicated.
And it's not about the complication.
This stuff is like the board stuff is not complicated at all.
No.
I think this is
there's
good.
nothing complicated in and of itself.
Well, I mean,
it's just
this is sort of complicated.
Yeah, that's the bit.
But I think one of the things you're reacting to, if I'm hearing you right, is like it's complication without depth.
yeah, like it. Or
Right?
It's kind of like this is my go-to, and some people are going to just completely dismiss this out of hand. But take Splatter Spellins Indonesia.
Sure.
Half the game is interesting. Half is tedium. And the tedium is operations.
Yeah.
Sure, it's an important thing that has to happen in that
Yeah.
game. And sure, turn order matters, then the operating order, the whole, I get that.
Yeah.
But then it's just, where am I? Or trying to figure out your best route in 18XX. It's an important part of the game. I get it. Ain't nobody saying, we can't wait.
Yeah, I
Right?
hear that. I mean,
so again,
on
it's
the
not a
board
complexity.
here,
Right.
all the complexity is, I think, in service of depth.
Yes.
Like
Agreed.
the way these connect to everything else, the way the districts connect to each
100%.
other, all that stuff is complex, but it's complex in a way that adds depth to
Yeah, and it's a good kind of brain burn.
Whereas maybe this is just complex.
It's just too
Production
much.
is-
Yeah, it's
production
just
is-
overkill. That's all.
yeah, I hear that.
But again, like, is the juice worth the squeeze? Look, if somebody said, depends on my day. That I'm gonna be perfectly honest. If I had a involved day and we're gonna have a game night, or we go to game day and I didn't sleep well, I'm not busting this out because let's talk about that. Like, I'm mentally exhausted from the game. And again, nothing, as y'all saw, nothing in particular in the any one thing is hard. The managing of everything in a mental, like, okay, I want to go there, I need to go there, I need to do this, and then making the puzzle work, which is a good part of gaming. That's a great thing. This game's hard to do well in. And that's a compliment.
Yeah.
Just some of the things that I'm not keen on are such a point to where I'm like, the depth's there, I like it, the variability's there. I just don't know if, in the end, if the negative outweighs my willingness to. So that's me.
I hear that. I think I fall on the side of like, there's enough here that I'm willing to deal with the stuff that is not ideal.
Right.
But I hear you. I do wonder whether the sweet spot for this game might be 2 players.
I am wondering the same. None of us have played it at 2 yet. Yeah. And scalability, I mean, again, none of the worker placement spots themselves actually change.
Yep.
There are some 2-player
fewer mega machine spots.
I think there's some other 2-player stuff in the maybe.
Okay, and there's a solo here as well, and
I tend not to read the 2-player exceptions.
Right. From a component readability standpoint, I think everything is really top notch and really nice. The player boards, like, all that stuff is great. The only thing that, still to this day, looking at the board, those are the worker placement spots?
Yeah.
That's what we chose to denote that?
It's a little bit, once you know it, it's fine.
Yeah, like we know the 3 out there. But even then, I'm still finding myself looking at them a little bit as far as, and even if we stand this stuff up, doesn't really help us.
Yeah, but that doesn't bother me. I think the slow thing is more. If this was in my copy, I would just swap this out for a different piece that could fit in the.
Also that, yeah.
But that's
I like it. I mean, like, I like it.
It's cool.
Too tall and not heavy.
Yeah.
So, ultimately, you want to play it more.
I do, absolutely.
Sure.
I like it quite a bit.
I would play it more. I'd be happy to play it more. I think I would like to be able to understand how to do what Ken does with production. Because he seems to have figured that out.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Managing to have the Steam to always like be able to run what he has and get all those points out of it.
I run my Steam way too lean.
It helps if you get 9 worm bus movements.
Yes, sure.
Because that generates 4 Steam usually.
So, and this is another interesting aspect. I guess there's a little bit more here to delve into. Is I don't mind the randomness of this stuff. What the order of the tiles are.
No.
These. However, I don't necessarily see these, and this could be an Edward issue. It's more points, and like I don't see comboing a lot of this stuff. I'm not able to think of it that way, and I don't because it's just, oh, that's cool. I'll be able to get some. Sure, I'll just grab that tile. And maybe Ken does a really good job of that, more so.
I mean, I think I'm mostly just taking what I get at the time.
Right.
And figuring out how it goes together. I think one of the cool things about this game that I think it shares in common with some other games that are a little like, you get a bunch of resources and you can figure out how to sort of like combine them together. Like Le Grand Ha is also like this.
Yeah.
Right?
Fair.
Is that like, you get them all together and you're like, all right, there's some combination here that's going to help me. I just got to think about what it is. And almost with any combination of 6 or 7 of these, you're going to have good combinations. You just have to figure out how to make them work.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think it's really fun. It's super weird and whimsical, the theme, but I like it actually quite a bit more in this context than in the Bitoku context. Because there's something about laying it on top of the Industrial Revolution that's like...
that hits for you?
Kind of interesting.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah. A little steampunky. Yeah.
Steampunk Miyazaki, you know? So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I would play it again. provided I'm not, like, I didn't spend all day playing poker. I'm not going to have the mental capacity to do well.
So I will say, this is 2024 release.
Yeah.
I am going to definitely consider this for my Golden Elephant shortlist.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't know if it'll ultimately make the cut or not, but I think it's worthy of consideration.
Oh, it's absolutely worthy of consideration. Yeah. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah. And even with the even if it's not my favorite, I can still appreciate it and put it up there, right? So cool. All right, there you go. That's a wrap. That is Daitoshi. So big thanks to these guys and to Paul for letting us borrow his game. Great. So thanks, Paul. Thanks to everybody that joined and watched. Certainly appreciate that. I'll be honest, I don't think we got any new patrons during that. I was a little focused, so my bad on that one. But if you do find value in what we do, please like and subscribe and consider supporting the show. Patreon.com/HCHQ. Saw Danny here earlier. So Danny, really appreciate you stopping in.
Yeah, and great game. Thanks for the game, man.
Yeah. And again, look, the aspects that I don't like, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. If you were so inclined to share them. That'd be cool. Whether on BGG or in the comments below, whatever. Certainly would appreciate that. But that's it. We will be back. I'll be back tomorrow with Kyle, tomorrow morning, with two-player games. Then you, me, Kyle, and Greg are doing some traditional card.
Old-fashioned trick takers?
Yeah, like with a 52 card deck. And then on Sunday, we're playing a Knizia. So hopefully you join us. I'm Edward.
Trey.
Ken. You feel vindicated after last night? You feel better?
I mean, James wasn't here.
Yeah. So, like what you said, every time you and James play a game, it's like we're playing both.
Right.
Should be a good time. Y'all have a good night. Thanks, bye. Hey, y'all made it this far. That's awesome. Gold star for you. Maybe check out some of those other videos that are listed there. Subscribe to the channel. Consider supporting us over on Patreon. All those things help the channel grow and make more content for y'all. So thanks, y'all.